Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, home of the BitSquad, the largest, the greatest crypto community in all of the interwebs. This is Around the Blockchain. We come to you Monday through Friday at 5:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thought if I said it fast enough, it'd be 5. This is Around the Blockchain. We're going to come to you talking about some awesome stuff with your favorite guests of all time today. No exception. Let's just get right into it. On the top right, we have Altcoin Daily. Really, really great interview with Mark Cuban. I think they did 7 videos. Great interview. You want to check it out. Hot takes on Cardano and Doge. Hey, great job with that. That spread like wildfire on the internet. Great job. Yeah, you definitely want to check that out. Then on the bottom right, we have RiceTVx. Great content as well. Make sure you're checking that out because, hey, you never know when they'll come after his channel. They've done it in the past, so make sure you're subscribed, got notifications on. Then on the bottom left, he is one of the main people at Crypto Jeb. Maybe a new name in the works. You're going to see a lot more of him on there, so you're going to want to follow that channel and make sure you follow Tim's_TA, Tim Warren. Always great content. Then on the top left, Mr. Motocross himself. He'll tell you all about the crossing of the Death Cross, the Golden Cross, the Motocross. It is Johnny Hopper, Johnny_crypto. Also great content. But today we're going to be talking, of course, the CPI numbers. What does it mean for crypto? Also, huge Ethereum test going down in the next 24 hours. The final test before we switch to proof of work. What is this going to mean for Ether? Also, another exchange freezing accounts. Are you affected? We're going to find out soon. But before we do, let's look at the crypto market, see where things are heading. And the CPI numbers seem to be given some favorable numbers. We're going to be honest here. Look at these pumps. Bitcoin up 3%. But the real story is Ethereum up 8% there. Now, Tim, we're going to get into the details of the testnet in the second segment, but I want to ask you about Ethereum. This is just pumping out of control, gaining tons of Satoshis. I'm looking at the 7-day. Bitcoin's up 2%. Ethereum's up almost 12%. So really, really gaining those Satoshis against Bitcoin. Is this going to reverse? How's that ETH Bitcoin trading pair looking? Are we overbought?
Yeah, on ETH Bitcoin, I haven't looked at ETH Bitcoin here. So I'll look at that real quick. At the moment, it's not looking too terrible. ETH over USD on the 4-hourly chart does have some bearish RSI divergence starting to form. I could share my screen if I wanted to, I guess, here.
We have the technology.
Button. There we go. Yeah, I got, updating myself what we're doing here. This is ETH over Bitcoin right here. So, if you were to go all the way back to this point on the 4-hourly chart, you do definitely have some bearish divergence there. Let's see if we have any over here. Yeah, we definitely have bearish RSI divergence on the daily chart on ETH over Bitcoin. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Of course, Ethereum right now, I'm really big on looking at the charts, but making sure you're using common sense with the news that's going on. I'm not necessarily too concerned about this, especially ETH over Bitcoin chart. A lot of times you can negate some of these things. ETH over the USD, though, on the other hand, this is where we're starting to see some bearish RSI divergence. And it's going to be interesting to see. Of course, we're going to talk about this a little later on the show, but the news of what happens with that testnet is going to be huge. That could change. Right now, there's some bearish things setting up on the charts. We're also in a rising wedge. That's bearish. However, that could all change if the ETH testnet ends up being a massive success. And I'm hopeful it will be. So we'll see on that one later.
All right, and let's get into the CPI numbers. Great analysis there on Ethereum. Tons of inflows of money into the markets just across the board. As soon as those numbers printed, looks like it was an 8.5% increase on the CPI data. A lot of analysts were expecting 8.9, even 9.1. So super, super high. I believe second highest of all time. However, lower than expected. So even though it's just terrible news, the market seemed to have that priced in already and was pumping $50 billion pumped into the crypto market over the past 24 hours. S&P up 1.8% in the early trading. Total market cap gained another 100 billion-ish. BTC jumped up, at the moment, almost 3%, but about 4 or 5% when that news first hit. So the markets really seem to like it. Now, Johnny, we're getting these CPI numbers. It seems like the markets think we've hit peak inflation. What are your thoughts on that? We see what eggs cost a year ago, gasoline cost a year ago. All these things are really high. Are we at that precipice where maybe things are going to start turning around, or do we have more pain to go, in your opinion?
Well, September with the interest rates, if interest rates are lower than 75 basis points, I would say that's a good indication that we've kind of hit our peak. And it's funny how we live in a world of fundamentals versus technicals. And all these fundamentals say, like, hey, inflation is up, interest rates are up, things should go down, but then yet things pop off. It's very interesting. We live in a world of meme culture where it's kind of popularity with social media where things will just pop off. Like, you look at Coinbase's earnings a couple days ago, they didn't meet expectations, but then because of all this news, they pop off as well. To answer your question, DZ, I think that we're getting to the point where it is slowing down enough to where people are starting to feel less FUD and are able to put some money into the market because prices are so low. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaning towards, I think things are going to get less worse than they have, let's say, 6 months ago.
That's a good way to put it, because we're still in the fear and greed index. However, a lot higher than our really, really lows. I think we hit 7, 8, and 9-ish area. Now we're, firmly in the double digits. So not great, just better than it was. All right. Now I want to bring it to you, Rice, here, because I kind of want to ask you about how they interpreted this data. We know that they have been known to fudge the numbers a little bit. When I was looking at essentially the cost of all these goods, electricity, used cars, dairy, clothing, I just saw tremendous increases.
Magic
a lot
cards.
of things, most things above that 8.5%, but they get that number of 8.5%. What are your thoughts on that? Are they fudging the data, and what's the rationale behind that?
I really couldn't say what the rationale actually is. It seems like we are in stranger than fiction times. But I do want to thank you for inviting me back on Around the Blockchain. This is absolutely crazy what's going on. I mean, especially when you consider that the government is changing definitions of words like recession. So there's definitely a lot of manipulation and massaging of numbers going on. I would really encourage people to check out George Gammon's YouTube channel. He does some really good whiteboard videos that do some really good explanations of this very topic, so you can tell how the manipulation is actually happening. Now, crypto is definitely correlated to stocks, and this news is good for the markets overall. But overall, it's not good news for everybody because we're still seeing 8.5% inflation. We still have high numbers of inflation. And you're seeing higher numbers of inflation in other areas. And if you actually look at true numbers, you go to something like Shadow Stat, you'll be able to get an idea of what the numbers actually are. There's definitely manipulation going on. Now, when I said this is good for the markets, we're not going to see another FOMC meeting until the end of September, which I believe is going to be the 20th and 21st. We're going to have more CPI data coming out in another month. So depending on how the CPI data comes, and we have midterm elections coming in November 8th, we could see the Fed kind of going with a dovish approach and let's not see high raises in the interest rates. Now, if we happen to have higher numbers of CPI or it stays about the same, we could see a higher rate hike take place in September. But November, I don't see anything happening. We don't have anything happening in October, and they've got to do everything they can to make the Democrats fare well in this midterm election. So it's interesting times ahead.
Yeah, the party in power definitely wants to stay in power. Now, Altcoin Daily, he's bringing up the Fed meeting next month, and I do want to initially say great job with the interview with Mark Cuban. I know there's that moment where he said Doge apps potentially have more use cases than Cardano's apps, and then I see you and your brother, you smiled. Maybe even a little a gleam of mischievousness there. And I like to think my interpretation was you heard him say that and you said, oh, you have no idea what the Cardano community is going to do to you. So it was really, really funny.
That's right.
Just knowing you guys personally.
And we like guests with strong opinions, one way or the other. We like passionate guests. And
I don't think it was, any kind of, oh, man, this is our viral moment. But when it happened, I'm sure you're like, this is probably going to be our viral moment. But I bring that up because you're out there, you're rubbing elbows with the billionaires. You're rubbing elbows with NBA team owners, and these are the market makers. How do you expect the market to act leading up to the Fed minutes? Do you think maybe 50 basis points is on the line here? Markets are going to be bullish, or are we worried about this inflation, this core price index, consumer price index? Is it going to be bearish leading up to their minutes? How do you feel the next month is going to fare for crypto and the markets overall?
DZ, thank you so much for inviting me on the channel. Where we go in the next month, I think today what we saw is anything above 9.1 inflation would have been considered bearish because it shows that none of the Fed raises have done anything. We're still trending up. We expected maybe an 8.7. That would have been neutral. We got 8.5, which was bullish, and the market reacted as such. So I think leading up into this next Fed meeting, based on the presumption, whether it's a local, we got over the hump, or we topped out in inflation numbers, which would be great. I think, it is more of a positive narrative heading into September. I think Rice hit it on the head that the people in power want, midterms are coming up. Everybody wants, to show a positive trend forward. Oh, we're solving the problem. So because we got 8.5, while if you'd have told me that 2 years ago, everybody would think that was horrible. That's outrageous inflation. But because we tipped over from 9.1, at least for now, people are feeling positive.
Yeah, I saw the tweet where it's, Bitcoin 20K, 2017, everyone's celebrating. You see it fast forward today, everyone's crying. May CPI number 8.5, everyone's crying. This month, 8.5, everyone's celebrating. So it's just funny seeing that reverse there. All right, let's talk a little Ethereum. Some would say DZ's favorite coin there. Yes, less than 24 hours away from the new test. I still don't know how to say that chain, Guerli or something like that. I need more people to say it in my life. It is the second largest crypto market cap, of course, and they are switching from proof of work to proof of stake. We've covered it as the so-called merge to ETH 2.0, and they successfully did it on Ropsten. They successfully did it on SapeliaNet, and now they want to do it on their final testnet, the third testnet. They're going to try to switch it from proof of stake to proof of work, and this is going to be happening tomorrow. If all goes well, the mainnet merge is set for the 19th of September. Let's see, who's been in crypto a while? Rice, you've been in crypto for a while. We've heard about ETH 2.0 for years and years. Now we're a month away. How are you feeling about this finish line? Is this going to happen in a month?
I don't know, honestly, and I'm planning on trying to bring some people on from the ETH core dev team to try to find out some information. I know a guy named Casey who's part of ETH Denver that I'm trying to get in communication with to find out where we're actually at. Now we're seeing a merge today with the Ropsten testnet and the new beacon chain. So this brings us obviously closer to the mainnet, which is a good thing. And the purpose of all of this whole test and using the test network is so that they can fix bugs and work out any sort of anomalies so that everything can be addressed and resolved. Now, and that's before we see the official mainnet launch. Now, the really interesting thing I'm sure a lot of people are hearing about is the news about miners talking about a potential hard fork, some sort of split, keeping a proof of work chain. And I really want to kind of put the thought out there of why are they considering doing something like that, which in a lot of times in other events have not been very successful. Bitcoin Cash might have been the most successful of the forks of Bitcoin, but I don't see that you're not going to get the support. So I'm not sure why they're not going over to Ethereum Classic, which I think would be just the smart move to do. And I mentioned that before. I mentioned that miners should go over to the Ethereum Classic chain, and they should work to improve Ethereum Classic to bring it more upon what Ethereum was as a proof of work chain before they go over to proof of stake, which is going to be really interesting. But I do believe it's going to happen. There's a lot of pressure. They have a lot of incredibly smart people as developers over there, and they have incredible amount of resources ultimately between the Ethereum Foundation and the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance. I mean, it's basically their funding is unlimited. So I definitely see this happening by the end of the year. Whether it happens in a month, I can't say 100% for sure because they haven't been 100% with everything throughout the past.
Now, that's a good point. Yeah, their funding is essentially unlimited. They couldn't spend that money effectively. They have so much money. And yeah, it is going to be interesting. I've heard the metaphor of it's like trying to change the engine of a plane while it's in the air. So it's going to be funny to see how this rolls out, and it's going to be interesting. All right, now, Johnny, I'm kind of looking at some of the technical levels here. The market cap just about a month ago was only 130 billion. Now we're at about 220 billion, a huge gain there. Looking at some of the trading volume, we go back about a month, roughly about 14 billion for the 24-hour trading volume. Now 50% higher. We're above 20 billion on this trading volume. Looking at the price, we're above $1,800 right now. What are some of the levels you're looking at when it comes to Ethereum? And bonus question, do we hit 2K by the end of the month?
Well, there's a lot at stake for Ethereum, no pun
Okay.
intended.
2
good one,
points for the
Johnny.
pun.
Actually, there's like a lot at stake for Ethereum because these are the guys, they're the foundation to pretty much all the other coins and decentralized apps on the platform, just cryptocurrency in general. So they need to do it right. And I would rather see them hold off than just the analogy you used, DZ, for trying to fix a plane when it's already in the air. If this does go smooth, we've all talked about the whole flipping of Bitcoin. This is the catalyst to start those actions. If Ethereum 2 comes off good, I feel like it's the #1 risk versus reward out there for people that aren't already millionaires. I'm talking the middle class. This is one of those coins, and the layer ones are the ones that are going to make people more mid-class to upper class, because if you put money in Bitcoin, and it's got to double, you got to have a lot of money basically. In Ethereum, you just have to have less, just looking statistically. But as far as the $2,000 level, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of resistance at the $2,000 mark. But if this news, again, goes off smoothly, I definitely think that we might hit it and might have a pin bar, Pinocchio bar to break through it, and then a small little retracement, because we do need other things in our economy as far as news go before we really set off. But who knows? I've seen crazier things happen before. This could be another 2019 like bear market bull rally that we could definitely probably see $2,500 with Ethereum. I mean, crazier things have happened. I'm just using past performance to help predict future stuff, but that's what I'm looking at. 2,000 would be the mark.
No, that's a good point. Bear markets will have a 50% pump, 60% pump, even 100% pump for some altcoins. So you got to be careful. Now, Altcoin Daily, you've been there for multiple cycles. If you listen to Ben, some other people, I'm semi-agree with them that crypto market caps basically live and die off the Bitcoin cycle. Every 4 years, we know rewards is cut in half. Pretty soon, about less than 2 years, only 3 1/8, I believe, Bitcoin will hit the market every 10 minutes, down from 6 1/4. So we see this halving cycle having a huge effect. Now, I want you to think about the ESG selling point and all the rumors of BlackRock getting into Ethereum and all the money flowing into these ESG companies. If they do go to proof of stake from proof of work, they reduce their emissions, I believe, by 99.5%. If this is successful, can this be the catalyst that ends Bitcoin's stranglehold on crypto market prices? Will this break the 4-year cycle pricing chart?
I think it's got a hell of a chance, DZ. Normally, I would.
That was a classic altcoin answer there.
You're welcome. The trend is your friend, and just looking at the traditional industry, ESG going hard for the environment, that's a trend. So when people see the second most popular chain, now proof of stake, they're going to like that. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean Bitcoin's going away. You have to ask yourself, what's the value you're getting from that energy? For example, we all use the internet. Nobody cares. That uses so much energy. You put up Christmas lights every year, DZ. The Christmas light industry uses so much more energy than Bitcoin. So it's all about the value you're getting in return. I do think this is bullish for Ethereum because it's going to be hard for more and more chains to compete with the strong proof of work chain of Bitcoin if Bitcoin's more profitable in the long run, which, a lot of the altcoins trend negative or trend down from Bitcoin. So I like ETH for totally separate reasons, but that is a benefit from the institutional side for Ethereum.
Okay, and I celebrate Festivus, so I have my aluminum pole, and I participate in the feats of strength. All right, now
what grievances do you have for me, DZ?
You know them. I DM'd them last night. All right, now Tim, final question on this. We're looking at the price action. It's doing really well. Very quick pump, about 50%. It was not that long ago. We were 1,200. Now we're at 1,800. Just last month, 100% gain. We were in that $900. It was not that long ago. We're at 915, and we are double from 915. So we've seen huge pumps. I've heard rumors that if this testnet goes successful tomorrow, this is already priced in. What are your thoughts on that? And what if it fails? I mean, if it is priced in, that means we can expect a massive drop tomorrow. But if it's successful, that means we wouldn't really see a pump. What are your thoughts on whether or not it's priced in, and what can Ethereum's price do in the near term?
All right, so the first thing, DZ, when we're looking at this price, let's just back up a month ago. Let's talk about what's happening on-chain. What we're seeing on-chain metrics are kind of reflecting about Ethereum, which is one of the reasons why I think that it had such a big pump to begin with. 1 month ago, looking at on-chain data, it had, when you're looking at some of the top altcoins, top 20, let's just stay in the top 20, probably the least amount of weak hands in the space. It was the one in the best position with the most strong holders. Enough of the weak hands had left that it had just so much strength at that bottom level. It was time it was going to rally. Well, of course, then we got the announcement that we actually have a date, and this one seems to be the most tangible date, because I think we've heard in the past, and I've only been in the crypto space here for a couple of years, but those of you who have been here for a lot longer, you've heard of ETH 2.0 dates before that did not come to fruition. This one seemed to have a little bit of a bite to it that actually was going to come true. So that's what started this off. Here is the issue. Ethereum right now has an all-time high on-chain of active wallets, and yet the price is only back up around 1,800. What that means is that this pump was due to retail investment. So let's just stay with this logically. If retailers are getting into the space right now, and I agree with what you just said, I think that the price has been worked in for this ETH 2.0. I think institutions are coming soon. I think the things that we're seeing happen, like with BlackRock's, getting together with Coinbase, you can say what you want about that, whether it's good or bad, yada, yada, yada. It is the sign that the institutions are preparing themselves to come in. But here's something you got to remember. Institutions that want to get into a project or into an investment of any kind, they're going to bring the price back. And if we just had this entire rally based off of retail investors, guess what? They love to screw the retail investors, manipulate the market, bring the boat back so we can get back in at those low levels. I'm not saying we have to go all the way back down, but I do think a good dip is going to come in before institutions come in. That's the Ethereum. That's all of them. I think we're going to see a major dip, one more, to bring it back down so the institutions can get their nice price levels to purchase, and then it's off to the races. I think this is a case where the fundamentals are getting better and better, and those of us who are retail investors who are watching this video right now, prepare yourself to just go ahead and hold on even though the waves get rough, because guess what? That's how the institutions play, and we're seeing the beginning signs. So no, I don't think Ethereum's just heading straight back up to all-time high. I think another significant dip is coming at one point or another, and that's part of the manipulation in the market. You can cry about it, or you can just learn to take a seat, grab your popcorn, and enjoy the show.
Hey, long-term holders, you shouldn't care about those short-term fluctuations, right? All right, let's talk about Hotbit. Hotbit is this Hotbits here. The next exchange to freeze users' accounts. This time, though, they're saying it's not because they're insolvent or essentially they leverage traded your funds away. No, this is they were saying this is due to a former employee's involvement with a project that violates criminal laws. Now, they're kind of vague with that language. Is this an internal project? Is this an external project? Was it a coin they're working on the outside, or is it maybe a feature they were going to give to their customers? More details are coming, but many senior managers of the firm have also been subpoenaed. So personally, I'm leaning towards this was an internal program that was evidently violating some laws. And they said this project violated exchange's internal policies, but wasn't known at the time. So maybe this is a rogue employee just going off on their own. They did highlight now the users' funds, although frozen, are still safe with the exchange. Have we heard that before? Possibly. There was something, though, that I wanted to ask you about, Johnny. They had unfulfilled open orders, previously made by customers, setting limits, you have trades going. Well, they forcibly liquidated every customer's trade. And I want to ask you, if you're freezing withdrawals anyway, is it fair to freeze their leverage trades, their spot trades, their open market trades? Was it fair that they just totally liquidated every open trade, and does that possibly leave them open to a lawsuit for gains that were maybe left on the table?
Oh, absolutely. That's never right. But again, this is why we try to keep our coins off of exchanges. Yes, these were open trades, so it's a little bit different, but I call this the liquidation era. okay, where everyone is just kind of being wiped off, all these
That's what I thought
exchanges,
Taco
everything,
Tuesday.
because there wasn't a very high barrier of entry to get involved. You know, we have so many exchanges come up, and of course, there are ideas to try to get rich and, you know, have something that's a use case. But then once you have a crash like this, you have less money going around. How are they going to fulfill potentially some of their people internally? And with their PR saying, hey, it wasn't our fault, it was one of our employees' faults, that's pretty bad when that's the best excuse you can come up with.
Fair.
So I think that there's going to be a mass adoption once we have a little bit more regulation involved, because there's $50 trillion of assets sitting on the sideline from big investors that are waiting to come in. But they want guarantees and they want to wipe out all the people that shouldn't be in the space. This is hence, again, why BlackRock picked Coinbase, because they believe Coinbase is going to be around and they've got the pockets to influence where they want to see it going. So then more people can follow in the footsteps. And yeah, we talk about regulation not being good for the space, but for other people, I mean, truthfully, for the majority of us, we want prices to go up. And in order for it to go up, our retail investors aren't going to make the difference. It's going to be the institutional investors. So this is a bummer. But again, this is why you kind of need to do your own research and pick platforms that A, have been around a while, and B, you believe they're going to be around for much longer. And if you don't think that they're going to be around for a while, well, you need to get in and get out and move that stuff to some place where you think potentially they're going to stay around, because this is a prime example of they don't care about you. They're going to take that money and try to pay off their debts with your money because they own your keys.
Yeah. All right. Now, Rice, I want to get your hot take on Hotbit here. They were arrested by just local Shanghai authorities. Do you think this was just Shanghai authorities enacting the, you know, whatever rules they have for their local jurisdiction? Or was this part of the CCP's more far-reaching control over cryptocurrency? Do you think this was coming from the highest levels, or more of the just the local laws were broken?
I haven't honestly done enough research to really fully answer that question.
Yeah, there's a lot of details still yet because it happened in Hong Kong, I guess, you know, in the middle of the morning. So we're still getting details, but just what's your overall take here?
My overall take is that, and I would agree with what Johnny had to say, not your keys, not your crypto. Ultimately, exchanges are not meant to be a place to store your cryptocurrency. They are not wallets. And if you're not actively trading, you shouldn't be leaving your cryptocurrency on an exchange. Again, not your keys, not your crypto. Now, traders should know the risk that they're getting involved with when they're getting involved with centralized exchanges. And you should never be investing more than you're willing to lose or afford to lose. And that doesn't make the situation right, but this brings another importance that people need to be making sure that they're doing research about the platforms that they're utilizing. We talked about there being too many cryptocurrencies out there. There are too many exchanges, and there's still a lot of shady exchanges. And I agree, we're kind of in the .com era of crypto, the liquidation period. We're going to be seeing all these scammy projects, all these speculatory projects, all these things that do not actually have use case or utility or value going by the wayside. So this is going to be occurring more. Now, the unfortunate thing is, if this is something to do with an employee, that is not overall having to do with the exchange, how it is affecting the individual users. But again, people should know the risks that they are getting involved with when it comes to trading. That's the most important thing that people can understand, is the risks. You know, in addition to all the other things, the risks are the most important thing that people need to focus on, because it's the risk to reward ratio.
Yeah, I will say this. The people who stuck around for this bear market are going to have some of the highest XP points, you know, for a little video game term there. All right, now, Tim, I want to ask you a question. How do exchanges and staking platforms win the public trust again, or can they?
I mean, there's gonna be a lot of people who never trust that ever again. I think the first one is gonna be, you know, as we start to see more clarification on regulation. Also, you know, you can't destroy all the exchanges. You know, I had an interview with Mark Yusko a couple of weeks ago where he talked very much, you know, very heavily. He's like, hey, you know, yes, get your money and the stuff that you want to hold on to for a long time, get that off exchanges. No reason to be there, just like Rice was saying there. However, if we think that the smartest thing to do is pull all of our money off exchanges, we're fooling ourselves. We're actually going to cripple the ability for crypto to grow in general. So we got to be wise on how we do it. But But you're where you're getting there. I'm trying to like even wrap my brain on it. What will it take for them to trust again? Here's the issue. I don't think it's going to actually be as much about trust as it's going to be people are going to see they can make money. That just like before, this isn't the first time a scam happened in crypto, and people kind of went into hiding for a while and then said, oh, look at all those guys making so much money. I'm going to come back out of the woodwork. That's going to happen again. Is it going to happen tomorrow? I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon, but people will come back. What we need is we need people to continue to educate themselves. Last thing I'll say here, Jordan Peterson talked about this, and this is exactly what we're seeing. He talked about it at Bitcoin 2022 down in Miami. He said, if you're dumb enough to think that you're trading one evil of fiat currency for something great in crypto, you're kidding yourself. There are so many evils within the crypto world. There are so many problems they're going to develop. Yes, centralization of fiat currency might go away, but guess what is happening every single day? Scams. And until people actually educate themselves and learn how to protect themselves and know who to trust and who not to trust, we're going to still see millions and billions of dollars lost. And those who are wise are going to steal it from those who are stupid. That's just how it works.
I think that was a great assessment. Trust won't be won over, but greed will eclipse trust. And then they'll say, oh, I was supposed to trust them. I was just greedy. All right, final question here. Altcoin Daily, I want to wrap your head. This one's going to wrap around your noodle here. This is a tough one. I want to know, who do you think is the big winner after all the events of the past 3 months? We've seen it with we're just seeing exchange after exchange go down. And I'm kind of saying there's going to be two winners here. And I want to know, you have to choose one here. We have all the exchanges. It's just consolidating into a few big players. So who is the big winner with all these exchanges going down? Is it the big exchanges, Coinbase, FTX, Binance? Or is it the wallet makers, hot or cold? Who do you think is the big winner if you could only choose one?
Why are we putting them in opposition? Because they're both game users?
God, another altcoin answer. You did it again. Go, yeah, fair
I'm
point.
sorry.
Go
Hey,
ahead.
DZ,
Go ahead. You must choose one. Well, why do we have to choose one?
You know what? The real winner is DZ, the underlying protocol. The Bitcoins.
Fair.
Okay.
God, that's a good answer.
Win.
That actually is a good answer. That's a good answer. I say that's fair because now you're learning about what you're participating in.
To answer your question, obviously the cold storage wallets. They're the huge winners. In bear markets, you learn more about Bitcoin. You learn more about the high caps, consolidate into those. You also learn, instead of being focused on price, you focus on, why this stuff has a future, why it was invented in the first place. And self-sovereignty, number one reason. And especially when you're seeing the Celsiuses and the Hotbits not let you have control of your money. How's that different than a bank?
Yeah.
It's not, DZ. It's not.
You had me there. You had me hook, line, and sinker. All right, good answer. Now that actually was a good answer. I feel like anytime I try to paint you in a corner, who's winning? This guy or this guy? You say it's the viewer, but then you give a good answer, and I'm like, I can't actually disagree with him. All right,
I know what the people want to hear, but I'll also give you the real answer too.
Yeah, the people want to hear that Doge has more applications than Cardano potentially.
Dude, that got you. That really got you.
No, I was actually wanting to defend you because all my Cardano fans came out of the woodwork and they said, look how he's smiling when he said it. You know this is his viral moment. I was like, I think he's smiling because he knows the rain of caca that is going to rain on the Cuban here. Another Cuban missile crisis there. All right, but that is all we got time for. It looks like Tim was the winner, narrowly edging out the competition. Tim, feel free, leave us with some parting thoughts.
Yeah, the first thing I have to do, Smay, my technical director, has been on my butt about, he's like, Tim, if you win around the blockchain, you got to shout me out. So shout out to Smay. Some of you know him as the Turtle King. But the only thing I'll say is, those of you who are here, and the numbers are few, but if you're still watching YouTube videos about crypto, you are setting yourself up for a life of victory. You are going to make it. If we can handle crypto in the mud with all the blood in the street, we're going to be kings and queens tomorrow when it's sitting up high. So keep at it. I know every single day is frustrating. You guys are worried. Continue to invest in your education. Continue to stay in the space and stay up to date with what's happening, and you will benefit from it tomorrow. I promise you.
Hey, and once again, check out everyone's social. They all got awesome things going on, great projects. You're going to want to check it out. Follow them on Twitter. Make sure you follow them, sub to them on YouTube, their Instagram, all the things. And make sure you answer the DMs because they will DM you. I'm just kidding. That is all we got time for today, BitSquad. Easy out. Oh, yeah, Frank's about to be live in 10 minutes. Go follow Frank.